Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Ryan Hurst, and let's queer up the USA view. Is Robby Starbuck the anti-DEI David to the LGBTQ Goliath? Donald Trump's second term has brought renewed attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, DEI, with Robby Starbuck leading the charge. A former Hollywood music video director, Starbuck is known for opposing DEI, queer rights, and what he calls woke leftism. He directed The War on Children, an anti-LGBTQ documentary promoted by Elon Musk. Since June 2024, Starbuck has pressured brands like John Deere and Lowe's to drop DEI initiatives. While he claims victory, reports suggest many companies made only minor changes. Starbuck also falsely links gender identity to chemical exposure and has attacked LGBTQ families, including claims that Megan Fox committed child abuse by apparently, quote, forcing her children to wear girls' clothes in a social media post, which has since been deleted. Now with Trump in power, Starbuck has an ally. Trump has already signed an order eliminating DEI from military and placed government DEI staff on leave. He's also targeting birthright citizenship, a move that ironically could impact Starbuck himself. However, there is no denying the dramatic effect Starbuck has had on influencing some of the world's largest corporations and their diversity programs. He continues to be a developing story for LGBTQ activists and our entire community. To your point, Alex, in the previous story, it's not just the police that have this toxic culture. It's all kinds of institutions, not only in our government, but in corporations. And that's why diversity, equity, and inclusion programming is so important to break down those toxic behaviors that, permeate throughout our culture. It's so disappointing to me to see someone pick a marginalized community to target in such a heinous way. I did a little research on Starbuck before coming to the program today. His parents are Cuban immigrants, so that's why he would be directly impacted by the ending of birthright citizenship. His parents are not U.S. citizens, and he also claims to be a Catholic, which I am also a practicing proud Catholic member of the church. The word Catholic means universal. And one of my favorite hymns that we sing in the church is "All Are Welcome Here." There is no way you can be part of a universal church and not welcome everyone. It's not just the earth. If there are aliens out there, the Catholic Church is supposed to be for them too. It is a welcoming church. And it's disappointing to me to see someone who claims to have that faith, be so mean and cold-hearted towards any marginalized community.
I think it's sad, and I think a lot of people are ignorant about what DEI really is. I think a lot of people see DEI, and some people think that it has something to do with specifically the LGBTQ community. And people don't realize if you are anything other than a cisgendered white male, then it encompasses you. If you're a woman, if you're disabled, if you're black, if you're any minority, a straight white woman, everything under the sun is on DEI. I have friends right now who I was very surprised that I shouldn't say was very surprised it was going to happen, but just recently, as of yesterday, that are in the military, told me that they had conversations with whomever their bosses were, and it went cold. We haven't heard any word. So, it's impacting every single person.
I was thinking as you were reading the story, and I was thinking, how small is this guy's brain power? That this is the only thing that he has to talk about. Everything was so contradictory. It's like he's a music video guy who's attacking gay people. That doesn't make any sense. And the fact that you don't know what you're talking about based on what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. But you're just running around talking. And I'm thinking, is there something wrong with him? There's nothing else that he could be focused on. Like, he doesn't have a dream or an aspiration. Like, why is he focused on people that he clearly doesn't understand? He's thrown out a lot of misinformation and incorrect information. And it's just like this hatred. I'm like, something happened to this guy. I think something happened to him. Something must have happened to him, because who would take the time out of their to spend their life and try to make a career out of trying to harm other people? I don't understand this.
Well, it's just the grift culture of the right-wing wannabe celebrity. You know,
Right.
a lot of people are like, is this man the David versus the Goliath? I'm like, he that probably has almost no influence on these corporations.
Exactly.
I've been warning the LGBTQ community through the pieces in the Advocate magazine and talking to LGBTQ orgs to not trust their relationships with corporations. Corporations that best are
Right.
fair weather friends, and they're taking their masks off now. They were waiting to see what happened this election cycle, but we all started to see that they were pulling back a little bit.
Right.
Now that their guy is empowered, like, oh, we don't need to pretend anymore. We can just light up the fires and show people our true colors. And I say, well, you know what, Mr. Starbuck, thank you for helping us unmask these villains, because that's what most of these corporations really are at the end of the day.
I mean, if you're not talking to everyone in the workplace, then you're setting up a discriminatory workplace. So you're setting up a workplace where people can be harmed. You're setting up a workplace like this woman who was the police officer. Like, you're setting up that type of culture. Is that what these corporations are saying to people? That when you come to work here, you're not going to be safe?
But have we ever been that
going to
safe
be
in these
discriminated?
workplaces?
Is that what they're saying to people? Like, I don't understand, because they're not saying we're going to educate people. We're going to make sure you're safe. We're going to make sure you can focus on your job. And you can come to work and do your job and do the best job you can. They're saying we're going to make everyone really unsafe. There's no protections for you when you come to work for John Deere or for whatever this other company. Why would a corporation
We've
say
seen
that? That makes no
corporations do
sense
this
to me.
for decades. Enron used to have a policy of the bottom 10% always got fired. Now, what happened with Enron there? It encouraged all sorts of cheating within the organization.
Right.
Wells Fargo did similar.
Went to prison. Yeah.
They had with brownouts in California. It literally affected everyday people's lives.
Right.
Wells Fargo did similar things. They ended up having workers were stealing from customers in order to try and make their quotas. The Federal Reserve actually had to step in and redo their entire board. We've seen that companies don't care about workers.
That's right.
DEI was always just this attempt to just sort of do a little bit of a facade. Because when you think about it, how do we discriminate against people? We do it through bullying, through unfair promotional tactics, by finding ways to make up excuses to fire people.
Right.
But if you create laws that protect people in the workplace and not discriminate, so you have to do both, then you can't bully people in the workplace or fire them wrongly. So you have to do things like the Equality Act, but you also need to do more encompassing economic justice policies. It's a little bit of both, is what I tell people.
But the frustrating thing is DEI policies benefit not only the workers, but the corporations themselves.
Absolutely.
If you have employees that are worried about, I don't have access to health care for my kids and my kid is at home sick, or I don't have the ability to take time off work because my partner is in the hospital, that worker is not being productive in the office. They might be sitting there for 8 hours to collect their paycheck, but they are not focusing on the job that you hired them to do. DEI is meant to protect both the workers and the corporation.
And when I think about some of the companies, the workers and the workers as well as the people that are purchasing the items, let's not only think about the people that are selling to those stores. You know, and I know there's a lot of people like Tabitha Brown who is in Target because of DEI. That a lot of people are now talking about stop going to the store because of them pulling out of DEI.
They did that last year as well. There was certain people at Target that were doing Pride merchandise. That they started pulling the rug out from under them last minute. It was terrible to watch that.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.